Welcome back to the Kuriboh Championship Cup. This is week 10, which means it is the last week of the regular season, and we basically have to win this week to make playoffs. If we do not win, we are relying on one of our opponents beating another to make playoffs. This week we are going up against King Eevee, a good friend from back in the day of my Pokemon draft leagues, and he is the coach of the St. Louis Cyber Dragons. His decks are Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights, Windups, Despots, Time Fiends, Mech Lords. His staples are Twin Twister, Appaloosa, the Sticky Kaiju, and Instant Fusion. So looking at his draft, he is most likely, and also how he played in previous weeks, he is most likely going to bring Burning Abyss. He's going to bring Burning Abyss Phantom Knights, and he is probably going to bring Windups. The only other deck he would probably bring is Mech Lords, but those are really only good into Synchro decks. Or at least they're way better into Synchro decks, and I don't really play those except for my Tier 4 and my Rika deck. And I'm probably not going to bring those. So with this in mind, I am just going to bring my number 1 staple and my Tier 1 deck and my 2 Tier 2 decks of ABC, Crusadia, and Cyber Dragons. Of course, gotta use Cyber Dragons against the coach of the St. Louis Cyber Dragons. And yeah, let us get into the matchup. So I decide to lead off with Crusadia. Gives me a good chance of protecting myself from his effects with Crusadia Power. He will lead off with Pure Burning Abyss. And let's get into this battle. So he wins the rock, paper, scissors and decides to go first, using his 2 Burning Abyss to make Dante, and of course discarding cards. I will allow the Absolute King Backjack's effect to go off and not using Skullmeister the first time, because I want him to reorganize his deck so he has a trap on top, and then I will then Skullmeister so he does not get the extra draw. Of course, using Waterfront to get into my Kaijus more easily, since Crusadia does have trouble with monsters effects on board if I do not have Crusadia Power or the other quick play Crusadia spell. I try to go for my 4 Mud Skipper into my Link Climbing, but he just Karma cuts it. Once again, using Dante to discard his Burning Abyss cards to the graveyard to get their graveyard effects. And he just has a bunch of trap cards. And face down. Once again, another 4 Mud Skipper trying to Link Climb. I do go for try to Link Climb. However, he uses, I believe it is the Farfa Burning Abyss to banish 4 Mud Skipper for the turn, and then it comes back. And then he just swings over it, and I am about to lose based off of the fact that I cannot get any plays going. Luckily for me, I do draw a Cosmic Cyclone, and I do target the correct trap card. If I had targeted the Traveler and the Burning Abyss, I probably would have lost this match. But I am able to start Link Climbing once again with my Parallel Xyz as well as my other Crusadia monsters into Equimax, of course using Maximus' effect to make Equimax do double damage, and of course protecting it from effects so he can't use my counters on my Waterfront from the Kaiju I gave him. And I just take him out in one shot, which is real nice. This is what Crusadia is meant to do. Just Link Climb and use a Kaiju to position to swing for game in one go. Going into game 2 of this match, he decides to let me go. Nope, he decides to go first. Sorry, mixing up my games. And once again, he goes into Dante sending cards to the graveyard, but once again, I have Skullmeister negating his graveyard effect. I decided to put Galaxy Cyclones in instead of a Cosmic Cyclone because I do not want to be put into a situation like Game 1 where I'm low on life points, and I could have just lost off of that. And yeah. So once again, trying to link climb, but once again he has a trap card to just get rid of my monster on the field, which is really good in Crusadia because they can only really get like one summon off per turn. But lucky for me, I have another Skullmeister in hand to negate, and once again, a graveyard effect. And luckily I do draw a 4-wind skipper to get me to start link climbing with Parallel Exceed, as well as Succession being able to special summon to my link monster. And yeah, once again, just using Parallel Exceed to link climb up into Equamax. This time I do not have, I only have Leonis, but this is perfectly fine because it allows me to attack over him and still do damage into his defense position monster, and I am able to draw cards and set up Avermax as well as 2 other monsters for follow-up plays. Next turn, while still keeping cards in hands if he somehow destroys my board. I'm not here. I make the mistake. I do not order my effects correctly. I'm supposed to do Maximus first so that he does double damage instead of power, because power stops it from being affected by Maximus effect, but if I do Maximus effect first, it still gets the effect. And here I could have won the game if I had layered that correctly, but I didn't. And yeah, just set debunk and swing for game since he does not have any plays in hands with just Fog Blade and Twin Twister. So I do win the first match 2-0. Looking good for me to win the whole set and lock myself for playoffs. And yeah, match 2, both of us seem to have lost the first match or game of that match. I decide to go with ABC. It is my strongest deck, and I can either go first or second with it. In the first game, he once again goes first and sets up the Fafnir. I think it's Fafnir, it's Faf something. Burning Abyss. He is running Phantom Knight's Burning Abyss this time, but he seems to have drawn his Burning Abyss cards. At least in game 1, he drew a bunch of Burning Abyss and gets into Dante, sending cards to the graveyard, and then I go for a gadget along with a Assault Corps onto my field, and then he targets my Assault Corps for banish. I make the mistake of using a unauthorized reactivation to equip my gold gadget with B Buster Drake. Probably should have equipped my A Assault Core after he targeted it with another A Assault Core, so he could not banish it. And then I could have just used those 2 links to create, or 2 mods. I could have used A Assault Core as well as my gadget to go into Union Carrier and then use the 2 A Assault Cores to bring them back to my hand and then create Cyber Dragon Infinity. But I did not. I equipped. Oh wait, no, I did not directly equip B Buster Drake to my gadget. I equipped a Union driver to it, and then got B Buster to go into my plays with that. Eventually, again, B Buster Drake, but I did not have Nova, or ABC Buster Drake. And yeah. But I did eventually win that game. So going into game 2, I decided for once to take out my second Union driver, because usually I run 2 for the fact that if I start with it in my hand, it is not that good. But I figured maybe the reason I kept seeing it in my hand was because I was running it for 2. But of course, when I take the second one out, I start with that in my hand, so it's not that good. But yeah, this game he does decide to go first, not having that strong of a hand with his Kaiju and Skullmeister and Boots and a Burning Abyss. Here, I do use Union Hanger for B-Buster Drake and using gold shit to get the 2 monsters. I will just straight up equip A, because I cannot equip Union Driver because I'm only running 1 Big Sag. Otherwise, I probably could have gone into my plays to get IP Masquerena on board as well as Union Cure to get Avermax. Here, this time I do chain correctly, making B-Buster Drake 1 and a Assault Core 2, which he will Skullmeister. Learning from my mistakes not to be greedy like that one game. Here, Courier into Photon Orbital to, of course, get Galaxy Soldier, sending my other pieces to the graveyard, and my Union Driver to get Nova into Infinity, as well as ABC Dragon Buster. And equipping Union Carrier to Infinity just for more damage, banishes just 1 defender, and attacking for a lot of damage, and send unauthorized reactivation if he decides to activate effect targeting my monsters. I can equip, depending on what, if it's a spell, trap, or monster, I can equip the correct A, B, or C piece. He does Kaiju my Infinity, which is unfortunate. One way to get around Infinity is to Kaiju it. Here, I just decide to banish ABC Dragon Buster into its, sack ABC Dragon for its 3 pieces. I was not planning on using his banish effect because I still want Skullmeister in hand for his Burning Abyss cards or Phantom Knight cards activating the graveyard, and I am perfectly fine with getting equipped with Union Hanger onto one of my pieces, as well as a possible unauthorized reactivation. I can always make ABC Dragon Buster on my next turn, since I still will have the pieces. Luckily for me, he didn't really have any plays with Silent Boots and the Burning Abyss in his hand, and he just decides to surrender. So I won match 2, both games, which means I am locked for playoffs. At the time of recording, the opponent that if I had lost, I would require them to win, did lose as well. So luckily I did win this match, locking myself for playoffs. So going into match 3, kind of just for fun at this point, no really real stakes into playoffs. I, of course, will bring Cyber Dragon versus his windups. He does decide to make me go first, once again, when rock, paper, scissors. And I do not start with that strong of a Cyber Dragon hand. Also, I was kind of multitasking while playing this game, so I will make quite a few mistakes, but I just set Hertz as well as Cybernetic Overflow to banish, hopefully slightly interrupt his plays, as well as get my Cyber Emergency so I can search out the correct Cyber card that I'll need on my following turn, since he is not really running OTK decks with his windups, Burning Abyss, and whatnot. Once again, he banishes my Earth with Farfa effect. Use Upstart Goblin, hopefully try and bait out any effects he might have. Kaiju and his lady. And of course, use the Cyber Emergencies to search for a Cyber Dragon. Like I said, I was multitasking. I should have contact fuse my Hertz with my Kaiju for my Fortress Dragon Chimera Tech. But I click my Overload Fusion first, which was a mistake, and only get 2,400 attack with nothing to swing into. Otherwise, I could have done a lot of damage and not been into a predicament where Arch Nemesis would have done so much to me. And here I am basically locked out of the game because of Arch Nemesis Eschatos preventing me from special summoning machines, and my Saber Dragons is just a machine deck. Yeah, so I will have to surrender this match and go into game two. I decide to go second, of course, with my Cyber Dragons, with my Kaijus. Luckily for me, I do have Emergency and Machine Duplicate, as well as a draw with Upstart. And I Cyclone his back row because I was worried since the ABC game he just had, as well as the Crusadia game, he just had a lot of back row to destroy whatever spin I summoned, and I don't want that to happen. Of course, I Kaiju Slumber giving him Jizurki so I can contact fuse. I summon Cyber Dragon Core, give him Repair Plant, Machine Duplicating for 2 Cyber Dragons to get Union Carrier into Orbital into Soldier. Using Repair Plant for the Hertz so that I can Galaxy Soldier to get another Galaxy Soldier and Cyber Dragon. Use Natcaster for Cyber Dragon. Send Cyber Dragon into Nova to get another Cyber Dragon. To get another Nova to get another Cyber Dragon. In this play, I do not summon another Galaxy Soldier. I am saving it for possible follow-up plays if I do not take him out this turn. And yeah, getting 1 Infinity, creating a Fortress with his Jizurki. Here, I did not realize that I could not target his Dante with Infinity's ability. If I knew I couldn't, I would have not activated the effect equipping Gamma Seal because I kind of needed the damage on board. But it's still fun. I do not make a second Infinity with Nova, just in case he does have some way of getting rid of my board. It's always nice to be able to get a Fusion Summon monster from my extra deck if he somehow destroys Nova along with my board. This time he has Arch Nemesis Protoss. He just declares Dark, which is fine because my other 2 monsters are light. And he does not go for Nova, which is fine. Once again, Cosmic Cycloning, don't want any interruption from his back row. Using Kaiju Slumber for another Jizurki to get rid of his Arch Nemesis, and I can just go into another Infinity as well as Seeger, swinging for game by boosting its attack. Going into game 3 of match 3, he gets to decide, and he decides to make me go first, which is perfectly fine. I actually start off with a decent hand for going first with Cyber Dragons, with my Galaxy Soldier, as well as Hirsch to get me the pieces to search to summon, as well as a Natcaster to get the pieces to create 2 Novas and create a Infinity, as well as a Seeker on board, just for increasing my attack if he just somehow creates something super big. Here I decide to Infinity his Magician as well as his Shark, mainly Shark, because that is a good choke point for windups. If they cannot get their second windup onto the field, they do not really have any plays. And yeah, he just lets me go into my turn. Here I could have won the game. with Cyber Dragon Infinities as well as Novas and Seeker's effects to increase their attacks. But I activated them in the wrong order, using Novas first instead of Seekers to increase the attack by 2,100 and another 2,100, which would have been game right there. But like I said, was multitasking and not completely paying attention. And of course, he has an Akatos in hand, and he just prevents me from special summoning my Cyber Dragons, using Replant to return a Nova to my extra deck, as well as draw a Core. Expecting him not to build up a strong enough board with his hand to swing for game. Luckily for me, he does not activate Akatos' effect again, so on this turn I can special summon a bunch of machine monsters. And yes, he's a Netcaster to bring back Infinity to take over his Akatos and then create another Nova for damage and game. So with this, I am in playoffs, as well as with the other match, I am the 3rd seed, which means I will be going up against Trey, coach of the Houston Obelisks, who we have previously beaten. He has made changes to his decks. The only one I think he made after battling me, he dropped Teller Knights for Elsworm. And yeah, he still has Adamantipator, Speedroids, Utopia, Zexal Weapons, and Mecha Phantom Beats and Kawaki. And of course, the dreaded Droll and Lockbird in his staples being the hardest thing to beat. And hopefully we can actually make it far in playoffs, since this is the first season we do make playoffs. So catch you for that next week. Bye-bye.